Good morning. If we can go ahead and get seated, that'd be great. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Holly Anderson, and I am absolutely thrilled to be serving as president of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Reston. Whether you are on Zoom or here with us in the sanctuary, we are so glad that you are with us this morning. And no matter how young or how old you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, however you identify and whomever you love, know that you are welcomed and treasured here. Today is a very special day. It's our annual homecoming worship service. Homecoming marks the beginning of a new church year. It's an opportunity to celebrate our wonderful church and rededicate ourselves to nourishing our spirituality, serving our community, and seeking justice together. Reverend Scott and the staff have planned an engaging and joyous service. We are so happy you are here with us today for Homecoming 2022. I have two announcements. For those of you who were able to join us last night, wasn't it wonderful? Yeah. Two thank yous. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for arranging that. I understand they volunteered to come here, but they only volunteer when people are really well connected. So we really thank Cynthia. She has just done an outstanding job in our musical programs and the people that come to our church. The other person I'd like to thank for all of the invitations, brochures, logo, Deb Stover did all that. So could we give her a round of applause? She just did a phenomenal job and everything matched and it was just lovely. So I want to give a big shout out to her as well. And then finally, I just want you all to know that the dishes are done. So that is also a big issue for us. And then Kathy. And then the other thing is we took the opportunity as we move things around to also clean up spaces. So we want you to know that for the last couple of years with the pandemic, with the HVAC, with the construction that's happened within the church, things got a little messy. We had to do that, no problem. But we have really spent a good deal of time getting things cleaned up. So the library is gorgeous. The boardroom is back and functioning. So as you had activities, please reserve those spaces and let's start to get back into the church as well. So wanted to let you know that. Our service today is being led by Reverend Scott Alexander. We are joined today by Linda Weaver, the Director of Religious Education, and Music Director Cynthia Young. We are pleased to welcome Kristin West to UUCR this morning. Kristin is serving as our accompanist today. Lesley Tyson is serving as the worship associate. Thank you all for participating in today's worship service. And thanks as always to our rotating production team consisting of Amelia Turner, Mike Schmitt, David Niemi, and Maggie Mack. Now, let's center ourselves for today's worship. Please take some deep quieting breaths with me. Let us enter our time of worship together as we listen to Carry Me Home by Heidi Wilson and performed by Kristin West.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome our guest accompanist today, Kristin West. Thank you for being here. And thank you to Jeff Loewer for helping us this morning with percussion and several of the pieces. So Carry Me Home is a community song, a congregational song, which we're going to sing together. And I'm going to teach it to you really, really quickly. And then you get to help me also add words to the song. I think there should be a slide. Oh, there it is. See, the words are really, really not hard. So it goes like this. And the day will come, carry me, and the day will come that one more time from the beginning. And the day will come, carry me, and the day will come, carry me, and the day will come, carry me. Oh, beautiful. So we can substitute different words for the day. So it could be really anything that calls you to come back to this space, to come back to this church, to come back home to UUCR. So on my mind this morning is the beautiful concert last night. So as an example, I'm going to throw out the music. So let's try that. And the music will carry me, and the music will come, carry me, and the music will come, carry me, oh, beautiful. Would anyone like to suggest something that brings them back to church? And my friends will come, carry me, and my friends will come, carry me, and my friends will come, carry me, oh. Anything else? Beautiful. And my hope. And my hope will come, carry me, and my hope will come, carry me, and my hope will come, carry me, oh. Let's have one last one. And my love will come, carry me, and my love will come, carry me, and my love will come, carry me,
Our opening words this Homecoming Sunday come from my colleague, the Reverend David Miller of our neighboring sister church in Fairfax, who last week at their homecoming service said, "As UU congregations gather again for a new congregational year, the world has profoundly changed. As time passes, it will always profoundly change. But these last few years have been like no other in our lifetimes. In the past, it's been important to ask how we honor the past, understanding our history and lineage, providing a place of spiritual grounding, and yet adapt congregational life to meet the changing needs of a rapidly changing world. This is true now more than ever. In this year, then, we ask, how can we create the deep and vital connections of love and mutual respect needed in times like these? How can we center relationships in everything we do to help us weather the days ahead? How can we truly live our shared values and principles authentically, moving beyond the veneer of our daily lives?" And then he goes on, "May the love which lies at the core of this faith truly enter our hearts and places of worship. May we connect to reach out in love through outstretching fingers to touch the hurting and troubled world. May the desire to honor the past not impede the need to be relevant in this time of rapid change. May we shine as a beacon of love, not on our own, but together with all those who believe in justice, equity, and compassion. And may we travel through the congregational year with this sense of purpose and devotion to our mission, infused in everything we do, programs, our worship, and our interactions with one another. May it be so. Welcome to a new church year.
Our opening hymn this morning is one we often sing at homecoming, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. It's hymn number 361, if you're using a hymnal. And I would like to invite Megan and Vivian to come up here and lead us in the hymn.
Good morning. The Chalice Lighting, the flaming chalice is our UU symbol. You might think of the flame as the light of love, as the cup of community that holds us. Our words today are Persistent Flame from Amy Brooks. Even as the days grow shorter and our homes shrink smaller and our wicks burn lower and our will to endure flickers, we light this chalice to kindle a flame of warmth as a reminder of the connection that draws us in to the community that opens us up. In gratitude for the breath in our lungs and the love in our hearts, for the gift of this day, alive.
In our church, we recommit to each other every Sunday by singing our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church. If you are at home on Zoom, the words will be in your chat box. If you're here in the sanctuary, I think they'll appear up there on the screen, but probably most of you know them. We will remain seated to sing our covenant together.
Now is the time for all ages. So if you're feeling young of body or young of spirit, gather around here. There's space on the floor and some seats in the front, and gather around your screens. Well, welcome, welcome. Welcome to this all ages service, and welcome to this new church year. It is so wonderful to hear and see you. Yes, I said hear. So, how many people are excited to be here and to be starting the new church year? Are you excited? Yes. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. But I think we maybe can do a little better. We have a really exciting year coming up. So I'd like to hear enthusiastic yeses here, and join us if you're on Zoom. So are we excited about this new church year? Yes. Great job. We would also like to hear what you are looking forward to. It might be something special coming up this year here at UUCR. It might be what you like about being part of UUCR. Or if you're new, it might be what you're hoping for at UUCR. If you're online, go ahead and write your answer in chat, and I'll ask someone from the AV team to yell out the answers, a few of them if possible. If you're here, raise your hand, and then when I point to you, yell out your answer. So, what are you excited about this new year at UUCR? Do we have anyone who has an answer? Yes, Holly.
Bidding on Lead Your God bread in the auction.
Bidding on bread in the auction. That sounds yummy. Anyone else? Yes. Being here in person. Yes, Gar. Scandinavian dinner. Oh, I haven't heard if that's happening, but that sounds great. Anyone else? Do we have anyone? Is there anything you're in? Okay, yes. More music evenings. Wonderful. And Amy? Finding a new settled minister. That's something big coming up. And are we seeing anything on Zoom?
Being an unsettled minister.
So kind of the flip side of that, being unsettled, having a new settled minister take his place. Reconnect with spirit. Oh, and someone else for the Scandinavian dinner. So anything else do we have? Is anyone looking forward to fun of any kind? Yes. Okay. Yeah. I heard lots of wonderful answers. And for those who aren't comfortable raising their hand and speaking out, I'm going to ask again, count to 3, and then ask you all to yell out your answers. So what are you looking forward to at UUCR this year? 1, 2, 3. Lots of wonderful answers. And thank you for sharing. And in a lot of those answers, I heard people and community. A lot of people go to UU congregations because of community. We celebrate together. We grieve together. We learn from one another, and we work together to make the world a better place. All things that we can't do alone. And there are also Unitarian Universalist congregations across this country. And sound like Fairfax did this last week, but did you know that many of these almost 1,000 congregations are holding homecoming or intergeneration or in-gathering services today, just like we're doing here? Did you know that? Yes. And so we have a greater world to work together with. And these congregations make a promise to one another that guide them in doing this. Does anyone know what those promises are called? Any idea? A covenant, that's a good word for it. And it are UU principles. As UUs, we don't have anything telling us what we have to believe, but our UU principles guide us in how we live together and in the world. And the official words begin, we, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote. And Reverend Scott will be sharing the official words later in the service. But now we are going to read one of many children's versions. And let's read the first one together. And if you can't see or read it, just accept this as our offering. So each person is important. And Vivian, will you say this next one with me?
Be kind
In all you do.
in all you do.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. And we don't have any other. So the next one is we're free to learn together. Then we search for what is true. Each person gets a vote. We work for a peaceful and just world. And let's all say the last one together. We care for our planet Earth. And there is an eighth principle that at least 220 congregations have adopted and that UUCR will be talking about this coming year and considering. And let's read this eighth principle together. Build the beloved community free of racism and oppression. Later today, we'll be inviting anyone who would like to come up here to have a backpack blessed and to get a tag that has the 7 principles on them. Now, please return to your seats, and thank you.
Randy, we have a ministerial search going on.
We do.
Well, tell us about it.
Gladly. And I'm going to ask the members of the Ministerial Search Committee to come on up here and join me for at the annual meeting earlier this year, a couple months ago, you all approved our being the Ministerial Search Committee. And we wanted to go ahead and make a full covenant with you all that's a little bit more official and more descriptive of what we're doing. So the words are in your order of service. We're gonna do the top half and then we will lead the second half and you can respond with the bold text. I'm going to lead us off. You, the congregation of UUCR, have charged us to serve as your ministerial search committee. We accept your charge and make this covenant with you now.
We promise we will act in accordance with your trust in what we think is the best interest of UUCR as a whole.
We promise to listen to your opinions, needs, wants, and dreams, and to balance them as best we can.
We promise to represent UUCR honestly and accurately.
We promise to keep the congregation informed of our progress without breaking confidentiality.
We promise to use the resources of the church wisely.
We promise to only present a ministerial match that we feel will lead UUCR well.
Okay, and so now the part where you all can respond to. So do you promise to support our work by participating throughout the entire search process to share your honest opinions, needs, wants, and desires? We promise. Do you promise to trust us to act in the best interest of UUCR, understanding that we will need to balance the wishes and needs of all segments of our church? We promise. Do you promise to respect the need for confidentiality during the search process? We promise. And do you promise to trust our judgment as we search for the minister who is best suited to lead our church forward? We promise. Wonderful. I want to mention the surveys really quick. If you haven't filled one out yet, they are, of course, online or in person. This is the last time to get them entered before we tabulate them before the cottage meetings. Speaking of cottage meetings, there are now sign-up sheets in the foyer on the window. If you're having trouble finding a time that is you're able to attend, or if you'd like to lead a cottage meeting yourself, please speak to any member of the MSC. That's the 5 of us plus Amelia over at the tech desk. Please let us know. And that's all we have for now. So thank you.
Linda and Beverly. It's a big year for us. Past our 5th year. We have a wonderful surprise, not a surprise, just a wonderful announcement.
We are delighted to be here to unveil our yearbook, which is the celebration of 50 years of UUCR. This wonderful book is available for sale. It's outside in the lobby, and Linda and I will be sitting there. And it goes through 50 years of our past. It talks about remembrances that people have that are put in there. It parallels the growth of our church with Reston, and it speaks to all of our priorities.
And I just wanted to point out to the kids, we had a lot of coverage of the RE program and the music program. And I wanted to show Vivian because she's in this book. There's a picture of you right here. Yep, you and Miss Maggie. Yep. And a lot of the other kids are in here as well. And in addition, we have a time capsule that was supposed to be closed today. We've decided to keep it open one more week because I wanted to get the plaque on it before it's stored. And the plaque reads, it's directions to the future. Open time capsule in 2045, the 75th. A gift of love to the future UUCR from UUCR at 50 plus 2022. So you still have a chance to add to the time capsule.
We are blessing backpacks this morning because our youth are going back to school. Linda.
You have a backpack or bag with you, please come forward and stand on either side of me with your backpack and face the congregation. If you're on Zoom, have your backpack or bag near you. And you can bring up a virtual or pretend bag if you don't have yours with you. So anyone who is learning as a student or teacher, in any sense of the word, come on and stand up on either side of me. Vivian, can you come over and sit over here? Okay, and so if you are, yes, okay, great. So we know that starting a new year of learning can be both exciting and a little scary, whether you're a school student or a teacher, doing continuing education, or learning on the job or from life, right? So as you begin this new year, we, your church family, would like to give you our blessings and our wishes and remind you that we are here for you. We wish for you that your pencils and minds are always sharp, that your lunch is never forgotten at home or your backpack left in strange places. Your erasers will be well used, knowing that we can always learn by making mistakes, and the only real failure is not trying. We wish you the courage to face blank pages, pop quizzes, and difficult projects. And we hope that no matter what your friends or classmates or even teachers say, and no matter what challenges you face this year, you will remember that you have a family and a church that loves and cares for you just the way you are. So let's all fill their backpacks with our blessings and love to carry with them wherever they go. Raise your hands and imagine all the care and acceptance in you pouring out on our learners and teachers. And if you have a backpack, hold it up. And a pretend one is okay. And catch all that love. I hope you're feeling it.
We do take great joy this Sunday in blessing these backpacks and bags and the people who carry them as they begin this new year. Students, teachers, and all learners, may you return to the classroom, however you may define it, to be animated in both joy and purpose that will lead to greater knowledge and fulfillment. Each day, added surely by the resources and tools found in these bags, may you discover something new and exciting about yourself and the world we all share. As Unitarian Universalist learners, may you always be open and eager to new horizons of learning. May you also generously share what you have with those around you, even if it's just an eraser. May school be a place for you of fun and excitement, and may you always remember to treat everyone around you with kindness, consideration, and respect, thus blessing all around.
To remind you that you carry the love and blessings of this congregation, we have a tag for you to take. And if you are coming up now, there'll be an opportunity to get a tag later. And if you're on Zoom, you can make arrangements to pick up a tag.
The second Sunday of each month is our dedicated offering to an organization chosen by the Social Justice and Social Action Committee. All of today's offering, except for pledge payments, which should be clearly marked, will go to Reclaim Our Vote. Reclaim Our Vote has been one of the main organizations the national and regional nonpartisan UU the Vote campaigns have partnered with. Since late 2017, this group has reached millions of voters of color in Alabama, Arizona, Georgia, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, and Virginia. For the 2020 election, including the primaries, the general election, and the January 5th runoff, Reclaim Our Vote reached out to 14 million voters. They distributed 9.4 million postcards, sent 2.9 million text messages, and made 1.7 million phone calls. We are again working with Reclaim Our Vote in the 2022 election cycle to combat voter suppression and encourage voter participation. You may make your donation at the link in the chat and on your order of service, entering your donation into the Charity of the Month donation box in the online form. You can also write a check to UUCR with vote in the memo line and put it in the offering basket or mail it to the church. And of course, you may put cash in the offering basket. Thank you for your generous support of this important community organization.
Do not leave your cares at the door. Do not leave them there when you come into this place. Be open to forgiveness and transformation. Come on in, you are welcome here. And do not leave your cares at the door. Bring your pain and sorrow and joy. There's a place for them. On the altar of my are welcome here, and do not leave your cares at the door. Amen. Amen.
Before we proceed today is the 21st anniversary of September 11. We light a candle for all who are affected or aggrieved by this terrible event in our national and global life. May the human family find other ways to resolve their disputes other than violence, terrorism, and death. Well, good morning. It is so wonderful for so many of us to be back together in this room this Sunday with all you bright-faced souls here and many more on Zoom in their homes. Bright-faced at home, I'm sure, also. Participating many by Zoom technology, which we assure you, as we move forward post-COVID, we will continue to be a hybrid congregation available to you in person. And on those Sundays when you break a leg or just feel ornery, you can stay home. So that's just good. So welcome all of you here in Reston, Virginia. This morning, I want to take just a few moments to remind all of us just why it is that together we go to all the trouble of time, attention, and expense to maintain this building, for example, of gathering each week in religious community with one another. The answer lies in the dual modalities that I identified in the sermon title this morning: coming home and going forth. These are the two crucial and intertwined venues in which we live out and serve out our Unitarian Universalist faith. Now, at first blush, these two dimensions of the religious journey might seem to contradict or clash with one another. But in fact, coming home and going forth are the two complementary sides of the same valuable coin of our faith's work. There it is. This is what we do. The mission of this congregation requires us, day in and day out, to focus our attentions at the same time in two equally important directions. Let me say this just a little differently. In order for this UU congregation to be vibrant, healthy, and purposeful, it must at the same self-time be inwardly focused, constantly nurturing the quality, warmth, and depth of our own internal community within these four walls, while also at the same time be constantly outwardly focused, addressing with all our care, commitment, and compassion the many pressing needs of our wider world and community. This is the timeless duality of church life, which Linda Holloway so beautifully articulates in her concise history of our first 50 years in the anniversary book that goes on sale. And I urge you all, of course, to buy it, or at least look at it. As having animated UUCR, she points out, from the very beginning. I quote her as she focuses first on the inward community building dimension of what we do here. She writes, many of our UUCR activities through the decades were designed to create community by offering opportunities for spiritual growth and building deep and lasting friendships. including these programs, but not limited to extended family groups, covenant groups, neighborhood groups, women's and men's groups, including the Juliets and Romeos. Romeos, retired old men eating out. What does Juliet stand for? Just us ladies? Imbibing and eating. In addition, she writes book clubs, dinner go-rounds, auction events, super, S-O-U-P-E-R, Thursday lunches, elder lunches, knitting and quilting groups, family night sing-alongs, adult classes covering a wide number of topics, Seder meals and other participatory worship services, and, needless to say, parties for any and all occasions, unquote. So Linda points out that this church has always been passionately about building a warm and nurturing spiritual community within these welcoming walls. And then she immediately, though, in her history, goes on to lift up our extensive outward-looking sphere of our work here as UUs. She writes, over the last 50 years, participation in activities to further social action and social justice for all, not only to help us help the world, but create bonding opportunities as we make cooperative commitments to our shared UU values. And then she goes on to enumerate just some of the outward-looking, community-oriented activities that we have engaged in here at 1625 Wheelie Avenue. Marches to support the rights of women, the poor, voting rights, and for LGBTQ citizens, demonstrations against wars, the NRA, and elections, continued support for Cornerstones, an anti-poverty agency, and The Closet, tangible assistance for our immigrant and homeless neighbors through ESOL classes, hypothermia winter meals, and our own flea markets, sponsoring Reston's first Pride Festival, alternative gift markets, the Jennifer Mitchell Memorial Fund, and monthly offerings, as we did this morning, for many causes proposed by our Social Action Justice Committee. So, from our very beginnings as a congregation organized in 1970 until now, UUCR has been doing the work of our Unitarian Universalist faith by both focusing on building the internal community within these four walls, as well as reaching out and doing social service and justice work in the wider world. And let me pause right here and briefly reflect on how our 7 principles, which Linda alluded to, variously inform this diverse and dualistic work as a congregation. Here you see the 7 principles of our faith. Now, of course, our first and most arguably foundational principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, which informs the other 6. This also must inform everything we do, both here at this address and in our wider world. Everything that we do must promote, honor, serve, and defend the inherent worth and dignity of persons. This means that whether we are interacting here with one another within the confines of this nurturing community or interacting with others beyond these walls, we strive to make our relationships reflect the respect, compassion, kindness, and justice which we know human beings, because of their indelible humanity, deserve. So, our all-important first principle must inform and shape everything we do. And then as we move on, can you keep those up, if you will? Keep those principles up. As we move on to consider the other 6 principles, we see that a number of them directly address the first half of the religious duality, the things we do in community building. The 3rd principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. And the 4th principle, a free and responsible search for meaning. And the 5th principle, where we promise to use the democratic process within our congregations, all point us toward the kind of nurturing, caring community we seek to build here with one another. And several other of our UU principles focus on the outward work of our congregation. Clearly, the second principle, seeking justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, informs how we touch other life. And the fifth principle, the use of the democratic process in society at large, that's endangered right now in this nation, and we must be a part of maintaining the democratic principles of our nation. And the sixth principle, the goal of world community with peace, justice, liberty, and all. And of course, the all-important seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence. All of these principles speak powerfully to the outward direction, the humanity-serving, creation-saving work we do as UUs. These guiding principles inform us as we go forth. And let me pause right here to share with you the fact that all the leading experts across all faith traditions write in this 21st century about what makes for a healthy and effective congregation. All the experts universally point out that churches and other religious organizations which are inward serving, which ignore and neglect their outward-looking responsibilities to the wider world, cannot thrive and cannot survive over the long term. The experts all agree, and it's just common sense, that congregations that are primarily narcissistic, if you will, inward focused, which spend most of their time navel-gazing for their own satisfaction, and they spend all their energy and resources on nurturing their own members and buildings and grand pipe organs and internal programs, these congregations tend to atrophy and decline. This is largely because younger spiritual seekers in this century who are looking for a congregational home in these troubling times are looking for congregations which, as one expert says, they're looking for a congregation which provides, quote, opportunities to express my compassion and care for the wider world. So if we are not providing opportunities for people to express their care for the world, we will not grow, nor should we grow. What I'm pointing out is that in addition to the all-important fact that our UU principles clearly call us to nurture and develop and enjoy our warm and caring community within these walls, we are blessedly obliged at the same time to be a very outward-looking faith. The Reverend Bill Schultz, a friend of mine, wisely once pointed out, ours is a theology of dirty hands. Exactly, which is another way of saying that Unitarian Universalists are perpetually obliged to roll up their spiritual sleeves and systematically and faithfully engage in the world, in the work of making our world a better and more humane place for all. If we aren't getting our hands dirty in the work of the world, we are failing the very core of our faith. Just look at the 7 principles. So, my dear Reston friends, as together we celebrate our autumn ingathering, and are you noticing it's getting darker earlier and earlier in the evening? Oh God, I got up this morning to read the New York Times and the Washington Post, and it was dark. It is fall. After a summer of far-flung, and I pray, enjoyable and relaxed pursuits with our family and friends, I also pray that in the congregational year ahead, as David Miller alluded in his opening words, we will wisely keep our eyes, ears, hands, and hearts focused at the same time on both the interior work of our congregation and the exterior obligations of what it means to be a UU. Let us joyfully come home as we celebrate and nurture our warm and caring community within these 4 walls, even at the same time we go forth to do the regular work and the regular fighting we must do for a better and more humane world. Let us neither in the months ahead neglect our care for one another, nor our timeless and pressing duty to serve the endless needs of the wider human family. Let us in the months ahead blend, if we can, blend these two interconnected, intertwined spheres of religion in a harmony that brings both us and the wider world a holy and enduring measure of purpose and peace and gladness. I pray it so, nothing less. Amen. And now we are going to have a ritual to symbolize this purposeful coming together. And we have these words. It's Homecoming Sunday here at UU Church of Reston, the annual autumnal occasion when we reunite after being somewhat more apart from one another, and I would add, because of COVID in the last couple of years. May this ritual of bringing our stones together remind us that no matter where or how we might journey in our lives from this place, we can always return to this community of care and purpose and concern. Here, as Unitarian Universalists, we promise to support and encourage one another on our life journeys, just as we promise to reach out with justice, care, and compassion to our wider community and world.
If you're joining us online, we invite you to find a stone, real or virtual, to hold up and then place somewhere special. If you're here in person, you're invited to come forward, choose a stone, and place it on the table here in front of the pulpit. While you're doing that, remember that no matter how far you travel and no matter how arduous the journey, you are always welcome here as an invaluable part of this community. Remember also how this spiritual community, represented by the table and the stones that hold it, nourishes your spirit and that of the world. As you leave the bowl, you may pick up a tag to take with you. And if you're online, you may place your stone with other stones in the garden, and you may arrange to pick up a tag later. The tags we blessed earlier are a reminder that you take the love and care of this congregation with you as you go forth into the world.
And so as Kristin plays, may our sacred ritual of ingathering now begin. We invite you to form a single line, approach the bowl of stones, and place your stones in the bowl, on the table actually in front of me, and then return to your seats. May our ritual begin.
Our closing hymn today is number 1018, Come and Go With Me to That Land. So I invite you to rise in body and or spirit and join us in singing. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm born. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Freedom, there'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. Justice, there'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. Singing. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound.
And I send you on your way with these words from my colleague Dan Hotchkiss. If we are proud of this spiritual community, let us make it a higher personal priority. If we are concerned for its future, may we help to shape and realize its vision. If its values resonate with ours, may we live them out with daring and devotion. This congregation cannot prosper, cannot fulfill its high purpose without our faith, our support, our commitment and witness. Its destiny and its brighter promise depend on all of us. Hey, see you next week.
We now extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope and truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry forth in our hearts until we are together again.
Similar to the prelude, our postlude today is a communal song, which we're going to sing together. And I think the words will appear there for you. And again, we can add our own words once we've learned it. So it starts like this. Let the life I lead. Yes, thank you. So you can echo me right away. So we're going to go, let the life I lead speak for me. Let the life I lead speak for me. This part part goes together. We sing it together. As I go out from this place, gonna share with the world my grace. Let's try that. As I go out from this place, gonna share with the world my grace. And then we carry on. Let the life I lead speak for me. Beautiful. So let's just try that one more time. I'll begin. Let the life I lead speak for me. Let the life I lead speak for me. As I go out from this place, gonna share with the world my grace. Let the life I lead speak for me. Beautiful. So now we can add different words instead of life I lead. For example, we could say love I share. So let's try that. Let the love I share speak for me. Let the love I share speak for me. As I go out from this place, gonna share with the world my grace. Let the life I lead, let the love I share speak for me. So if you feel so inspired to throw out something, we could add it to our song. Lovely. Let the song I sing. Ready? Let the song I sing speak for me. Let the song I sing speak for me. As I go out from this place, gonna share with the world my grace. Let the song I sing speak for me. Something else? Let the way I serve speak for me. Let the way I serve speak for me. As I go out from this place, gonna share with the world my grace. Let the way I serve speak for me. Let's do one last one. Let the hope I feel speak for me. Let the hope I feel speak for me. As I go out from this place, gonna share with the world my grace. Let the hope I feel speak for me.
We invite our congregants attending worship on Zoom to join us for our virtual Greet Your Neighbor coffee hour today to discuss the service theme and enjoy fellowship with other congregants. The link is in the chat box and will be on a forthcoming slide. In addition, please use that chat box as a virtual receiving line to leave a message about your appreciation for the worship service. For those of you here in person, there's leftover shrimp And I have scored Rigel Anderson's fig jam that we're going to put on 2 triangles of brie. You are not going to want to miss today's coffee hour. Since we took the table out of the back for the concert last night, we're going to meet in the boardroom. And so we're going to open that. There's plated things. If a couple people could help us move that to the boardroom, that would be fantastic. And we're going to leave the chairs as is. Have a wonderful week.